Welcome back. We're going to do a brief demo showing you how to do two things with arrays. One is to copy the values in one array into another, and secondly, we're going to show you how to compare two arrays to see if they are equivalent, whether they contain the same number of elements. So let's take a look at what's required. The assignment operator, equal sign, is not defined for arrays. It is defined for the base type of an array. So in this case, if int is the type of the elements of the array, although I can take two integer variables and assign one to another, I cannot do that for an array. Instead, I must copy the elements of one array into another array. And for that, of course, we see the familiar loop, where we must have a loop that goes through the subscript values. We want subscript 0, 1, 2, 3, up to 1 less than the size of the array. A reminder, the size of the array is not the capacity. It is instead the number of values that are currently in use. So let's copy this over into our program and see what we have. Okay. Notice that in this program we have an array called T, and its size is 5 because it has 5 elements. We're going to create another array called S of capacity 5, but it has no values yet. And we basically have from this that technically T size is 5. If the array with capacity 5 had 3 elements in it, then T size would be a 3. That is, there would only be 3 elements to copy. So let's take a look at our loop. And the loop needs to say what? Again, we need to say start with the first subscript, which is a 0. We want to keep going as long as we are less than the size of the array, which is T size, and we're going to increment. And what are we doing here? We're going to say the element T sub I, what do we want to do with it? We want to place the value of T sub I into S sub I. The first element, subscript is 0, first element of T is stored into the first element of S, second element of T into second element of S. Now, after we do this, we must, of course, demonstrate that we actually copied these. So we're basically going to copy these, the same loop, and this time we're going to output the value. We're going to output the value of S sub I followed by the value of T sub I, line by line. So you can see that they are in fact equivalent. So let's take a shot at this and see what we have. And we're going to run it, see what we have, and we're going to have the values one by one, they are the same. So we've established this is how you do it. How many are getting the hang that with arrays, for loops are just there all the time? Another important question is, when are two arrays equal or equivalent? And that simply means at the given time, two arrays contain the same values in the same sequence. So what are the two requirements? You would like to be able to say let's compare using the comparison operator, the equality operator, but that doesn't work. It works on ints but not arrays of ints. So what are the two requirements? For two arrays to be equivalent, they must have the same size and the elements must match corresponding elements. So how do we do this? We can use a flag and a for loop. Well, what's a flag? It's just a Boolean variable that remembers the state of things. So, and the Boolean variable we're going to use is called equivalent, and it has a true or false value, and the initial value is based upon the result of comparing the two sizes. If one array has 5 elements, it currently holds 5 elements and the other holds 4, then the value of this expression, T1 size 5, equality with T2 size 4, is going to come out false. So that we start off by concluding immediately that the two are not equivalent. So our while loop says as long as it's equivalent so far and we have not exceeded the array, we take the next step. But if in case the sizes don't match, this while loop will never execute, and we will fall out of the loop and say, we won't say anything because it's not equivalent. Otherwise, as long as the corresponding elements match, we will continue to say that the elements are equivalent. All right. Now, there's many ways of doing this. I want to quickly show you several ways. So one way is this way. The other way is to use a flag and a while loop. But this time, inside the body of the while loop, we don't need to make an if statement. We can just simply say the flag equal, because it's true when I enter. I'm just going to reset it to whether or not the two elements match. If they do not match, equal becomes false and we kick out. Okay? And the third way we're going to try it is a while loop, a for loop. And I want to point out some things to you that maybe you have never seen in a for loop. For loop has 3 parts. The initialization of a variable, in this case the subscript. It has the increment or the updating of the variable, which we still have over here. And in the middle, you say what are the conditions under which we continue. And that can be a very complex expression. So there's 2 components of this. One component is, have we finished going through the array? That's what this component. If we have not finished going through the array, we want to consider going. And the other part is, so far we have found the 2 arrays to be equivalent. The moment this becomes true, the for loop will terminate. Notice that this form is so much more compact than the others because we're using the power of a for loop to make sure that we go through the array. The for loop is automatically keeping track of the subscripts for us. So there's one less thing for us to forget and cross up. So why don't we just copy this and see if this is going to work. All right, so let's go back over here. And we're going to go in here. So in this case, T size is 5, and okay. And when we copy the 2, guess what we've done? We've basically made S size be the same as T size. All right. And now we're able to, I hope, put in our code that we had up here. Okay. And now we have the equality. What's missing? We got to declare our flag equal. All right. And now what's required? I didn't bring everything I wanted down here. We got to say equal equals the result of comparing T size for equality with S size. And now we're off to the races. Let me shorten a couple things just so it's easier to see. Jam this up a little bit. Okay. It's kind of important to see all the program. Don't want to have anything left out. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and compile it. T size. Okay, notice that we're comparing S and T. My bad. S S and T. We're going to say T size. Taking a little more time than I wanted, so let's quickly compile again. Sorry about that. Oh, bad. I do what y'all do. I make the same mistakes, don't I? Alright, sorry about that. And we're going to run it. And what's going on here? Oh, my bad. One last time. I forgot to put the last part in here that says that I've had every other place. If I have equivalents, we're going to say equivalent. So let's fix that. It's not going to be pretty. Okay. Now, this actually illustrates what happens sometimes when you copy from a PowerPoint. There are hidden characters for quotes, and they don't translate over. So when you do that, you're allowed to get hit with this. Didn't mean to take 10 minutes. Oh, can't cuss, can't cuss, can't cuss, can't cuss. Okay, one final thing is my variable is not equivalent, it's called equal. My bad, my bad, my bad. Alright, so this demonstrates that we're able to use this algorithm to detail. So we're going to quit right here. Thank you for your